Alright, so I've had this account for God knows how many years, and I've never used it for anything. So, with me and my friends deciding to do something, let's actually get this thing rolling, I guess, and finally start putting things out for my whole 5 subscribers that I'm sure are excruciatingly loyal. So, basically what we're doing is we are a group of about 6 people. We're all pretty indecisive and argumentative. What we're doing is we're making what we believe to start as a series of webcomics. If we get popular enough, if we have enough support, enough funding, and enough time, we may go into a fully fledged animated web show, web series, I guess you could call it that, following a series of characters set in a advanced world is a good way to put it. So basically who we are is just that. We're a bunch of friends who a couple of years ago decided, hey, this would probably be kind of fun to do. Never realized just how much work and stress is involved in it. And admittedly, we've got a lot planned out, we've got a lot of plot things decided, but we don't have 99% of them on paper. That's one of our biggest problems. We haven't really started writing too much because we still want to figure out some things about other things that happen later so that we can write towards it. Now, of course, that's a problem that we all need to just kind of fess up to being the problem. And we will debate for hours on end about one little topic that really could have been decided in a minute. So that's our biggest problem, because we all have our own biases towards something. So everyone who's watching this, I want you to comment on the video or zip an email or anything about if you were to watch an anime or read a comic or watch some other animated TV show or anything, what is it that you would want to see in it? What is it you would want us to write? What kind of character developmental things would you want to happen? Now, of course, that's a bit abrupt right now, but I'm just kind of asking right now what it is that you guys would like. Because ultimately, we do have to cater to what a fan base would like. Because if we just go to what we like, there's a good chance not a lot of people are going to like it, and our support will dwindle if we don't put out content that people actually enjoy. So from that we move into what our main goal is. Like I said, this started with a bunch of friends who really just wanted to make something of ourselves, something of our characters, something to just do. And admittedly, it was a pretty daunting, massive project. We've got a few people who are very excited for it, they're very impatient, they're very adamant about getting it done. Go, 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 go. Then there's people who are a lot more realistic about it. We're a lot slower, we want to figure things out more, we just want to get things started. That is still one of our largest problems, because we debate over things that we don't even know if we're going to get to. That's our current debate. And at the time of this filming, right after I get done filming this, I'm going to tell everyone, hey, we need to stop. Well, no, I can tell them now. We need to stop. We have our first series figured out. In the fashion of a webcomic, I guess you'd call it a series, a season, a run. We have our first run figured out in framework. That's a problem. I will agree entirely with Ben. We've been working on this, Ben and Ray being in here the longest. We've been working on this thing since I was in about 9th, 10th grade. I'm about to graduate. That's 3 years that we've had the gist of what Season 1 is pretty much hammered out. Of course, details have changed, lineups have changed, but we've had the general idea and the main events figured out. So what we need to do is shelf everything after Season 1. Shelf it all. Don't get rid of it, just shelf it. Don't touch it, don't talk about it. Put it in a box, and don't touch the box. Until we have something to show of Season 1, even if it's just one solid storyboard for every episode. And for those of you who aren't certain on what a storyboard is, that is where you write it out, panel by panel, of main sequences of what's going on. So, say there's a scene of a family in a coffee shop, or a family going to a coffee shop. You'll see scene 1 of the car pulling into the parking lot. Frame 2, or panel 2, would be them getting out of the car. Of course, you'd have lines directing where everyone's going. So they're here, they're moving over here. There'd be just a line dragging right there with an arrow. And you just mark it out and you go for where you're going. What we need to do is we need to get Season 1 to at least storyboard written for every single issue of Season 1. Then, and only then, should we start talking about anything. Should we consider anything after it as a possibility? Because we're talking about our third and fourth series of runs, our third and fourth season, if you will, when we have nothing to show of Season 1. So let's finish Season 1 first. That is our realistic goal that I vote we set now. That we get Season 1 rolled. We get it going. What we have currently is, like I said, a bunch of ideas. We have on the computer a list of the sequence of events for the first run, for the first season. We have 18 primary things going on. And one issue will follow one event. Issue 2 will follow the second, third, fourth, and fifth, all the way through 18. At which point, we have a reasonable endpoint. We'll let it sit, we'll let it simmer, we'll let it get a fan base going. And the whole time that we're working on Run 2, if we have a large enough base going for us, Run 2 will be just set up. Because we'll have people who will have already seen, heard, and listened to us talk about the first run. So they'll have an idea of what goes on in the world. And they'll be able to suggest things for Season 2. So, like I said, right now, we need to shelve. Not get rid of, not destroy, shelf. 2 through 4. And anything that is not Season 1. Until we have at least storyboard for every episode. What we need, honestly, is time. Which, we're young. We have plenty of time. Now, unfortunately, not all of us have transportation. We all live decently far away. I live the farthest from everyone. So, naturally, there's going to be conflicts of when who can hang out where and how we're going to get where we need to go. Now, I can't say that needs to change. It does, but there's nothing that we can do about it. There is nothing that we can fix about that until we're all out of high school and we can get rolling. And I realized that was 9 minutes of me just kind of complaining about us and what we were doing. But, well, that's really how a group project with 6 people in it works. There's a lot of conflict going on. There's a lot of personal interest going on. There's a lot of things that not everyone agrees on. So we get stuck on it. We debate. We argue. And we run from the main thing that needs to get done because we're too busy going after the thing that we think needs to be done. So, yeah. Fully ramblomatic, I know. I will get on tangents and just kind of ramble about things when I really don't need to. And that's one of my problems. I'm not the most concise. I'm not the most direct. Even though I can be extremely direct, there are times when I just kind of waver around the topic. But that's pretty much the gist of everything we have. It follows a lineup of ultimately 3 main characters and 7 secondary characters. They're not background, but they're not main. They don't blend into the background. They're not the Walla Wallas that hide in the backgrounds, that just kind of sit there and do nothing. They are story-driven characters who are important to plots throughout the timeline of the series. They're just not the ones that are the dominant focus throughout. Now, of course, I know the torch of main character can be thrown around, but ultimately we have 3 primaries for reasons that I can't exactly explain, because all of us have our own separate individual little trust issues, and until we have a solid base of people here whom we can connect with and speak to, we likely won't be sharing most of the plot information until we receive good reception and have people suggesting things we can do. And more importantly, we get this thing known. We get it known that this is ours. These characters are ours. So, just the lineup of a few of the characters. I'm just going to go by the name and what they mainly do and whom they are, whom they're connected to, and why. Correction, why they're important in some detail. The primary protagonist is Brannon. Then there is Cameron, Kiro, she's Japanese. Brannon is an American, as is Cameron. Brannon runs a private military company. Cameron is a street rat. Kiro was a child soldier of sorts. Those are not the 3 primaries, but they're just 3 teasers, I guess you could call them. Brannon is seen as the leader figure of this little band of malcontents and misfits who don't altogether mesh too well. But when you have characters with actual conflict with one another, conflict of interest, you actually do have reasons to watch, because you want to see just what it is that they're doing, and more importantly, what is driving them to have a certain emotion towards someone. Such as there are 2 characters driven by me that are, one is extremely hateful towards a specific set of people, and one is extremely introverted and hidden away because of the same reason. Those characters would be Amalia and Corinthia. Amalia and Corinthia are not human. No, they're not the stereotypical They're not the stereotypical anthropomorphic beings. They're not wolf people, cat people. They are a biological humanoid being. They come from a lab-made species. And because of that, their species isn't exactly the most trusted. So of course, there were conflicts of interest and just in general conflicts when they were growing up that the different stimuli caused to them led them to develop in different ways. So, Corinthia wound up being introverted. Amalia wound up with a lot of anger and pent-up frustrations at pretty much humans in general. Now, unfortunately, that is pretty much all the time that I have, because I have a 15-minute video limit. So, anyone who is watching this, please just put a comment saying something that you'd like to see, or if there's a specific kind of character that you'd like to see in the show, and some events that you'd like to see. I will be doing these weekly. I'll be updating. There will be videos with the other members in it. Thanks, and bye-bye.